So I wanted to show you guys the Snap-on MT2500. It is a pretty awesome little deal. It's a bi-directional scanner, and it is an older one. I think this is a 2000 model year. But anyways, it's quite a bit different than typical scanners where you just kind of plug in and go. This has a whole lot of different options and connections and features. This is meant for a lot of OBD1 type stuff, which is 95, 96, and like before then, all the way through the 80s and stuff. So one of the really cool features on this, as I just mentioned, is the bi-directional ability. Now what that means is, with a regular scanner, the computer can communicate to the scanner and tell you what the sensors are reading. But with bi-directional, the scanner can communicate to the computer back and tell it to do certain things. So just for a little demonstration here, I have set it to just a functionality test, where I'm going to turn on all the solenoids and relays that I can do, and kind of just look around the system and see what's working, see what's not working. And I'll actually go outside the vehicle and I'll show you the AC clutch working and the relays clicking and all that stuff. So we're going to click Y for yes. Now, all the relays and solenoids are clicking. Hopefully you guys can pick this up on the camera here. A good visual would be this AC compressor clutch here, which works off S solenoid. You can see that the clutch is engaging and disengaging. So this functionality test right here, let's say your AC wasn't working for whatever reason, you can verify right here that the circuit for this is complete and your problem would lie elsewhere. And you can hear a bunch of clicking and ticking all around the engine. That's all different solenoids and relays. Good, easy way to check stuff. We're going to exit that, and we can go to another test. Let's fuel pump relay circuit. If I was going to do that, I could actually, hopefully you can hear that. It's continuously priming the pump, so I could hook up a fuel gauge up to the front and check the fuel pressure that was actually being generated by the pump, make sure everything there was good. Auto shutdown relay. We got AC clutch relay. Just a bunch of awesome tests we can do. Test all the injectors. We can test the overdrive lamp, the heater core, or not the heater core. We can test, well, the O2 heater test. The override lamp, overdrive solenoid, part throttle unlock solenoid, purge solenoid, power relay vacuum solenoids. Basically, we can test everything right from here. Let's see, AIS motor test. If we were doing something where the engine would have to remain at a certain RPM in order to verify or test something, for instance the charging system or whatever, if we wanted to keep it at 2000 RPM, if we wanted to keep it at 2000 RPM so we could go out and check what it's actually generating at 2000 RPM, we could actually just go up to, let's say, 2000 with this thing, and without even my foot on the gas, you can see it'll hold it steady right at 2000. No foot on the gas. We'll go back down to, let's say, 1200. No foot on the gas. Hold it steady there. So that way I can do all of these tests by myself. I can be outside the vehicle. I can verify what I want to, and this thing will actually be my buddy inside the vehicle, helping me out a lot with basically what a second person would be doing. So we're going to exit that, and we'll drop that back down to the regular idle RPMs down there. Let's see. Exit that. Codes and data. Let's see. If we scroll through this, we have RPMs right there, our injector pulse. We have a PO455, which is a large evap leak somewhere. I'm pretty sure that's the vacuum line that's cracked up there. But we can basically scroll through this and see all the info that's coming from the sensor's live data, what's happening absolutely right now. Like throttle position, coolant temperatures at 192. You can desired engine RPM 608, engine RPM 576, so it's a little low. It's fluctuating a little bit right there. It's holding steady right now. Spark advance, BTC means before, top dead center, 18, 21, 19, 9, 13 is fluctuating there. Calculated load value, which is the engine load, 4%. Ignition switch, pump relay on. Fuel level. Oil pressure, that's an important one to keep an eye on. Oil pressure PSI, 10. It's obviously, as we rev the engine a bit, it'll spike. And we do have the oil gauge up here too, which will give us the approximate pressure, but this will really narrow it down to a specific number for us if we needed to look at that for something. Battery volts, 14.1, 13.9, fluctuating right around there. It should, as I increase the RPM, go up a little bit. And these top line here, the RPM and the injector pulse width in milliseconds is always there as you scroll through, so you can keep an eye on that in relativity to other things you're looking at, which is helpful. Brake released. So if I push the parking brake, let's see, pressed. There we go. If I push it's the brake pedal, pressed. That circuit's working just fine. Vehicle speed 0 because I'm just sitting here. So yeah, there's an absolute ton of features of this thing, and right now it is connected to an OBD2 port with an OBD2 plug and these special keys on it which communicate with different types of vehicles. However, I do have a bunch of different connectors and wires to hook up to older Fords, Chryslers, Jeeps, Lexus, all that type of stuff, which, as long as I'm here, I'll turn off the vehicle and kind of show you. Well, now that I took the key out, it's going to say no communication is key on, ensure scanner is connected, blah blah blah. But I'll come back here, find the right key. Alright, open this up. Fancy box. It's got all the troubleshooting manuals. These are different cartridges for, obviously, this one says through 99 for these makes, vehicle communication interface. This one is another through 99. This one's a fast track troubleshooter, and that one's just a primary cartridge. The fast track actually gives you helpful suggestions and options for, let's say you were having a certain issue with it. You could actually go to that issue, scroll through, and click rough idle, and it will give you actually specific things to look for and specific things to check, and take all the guesswork out of it and just lead you straight to the problem. So as you can see, there's a bunch of different connectors here. This one's a Toyota DLC data link connector 2. This one's a Lexus. This one's a Mitsu, which is a Mitsubishi. I'm pretty sure I got a Jeep one in here too somewhere. Yep, this is a Jeep one. This has 2 plugs in here. The first one, under this cover, you'll see a bunch of little pins like that. This is for the engine ECU, and then the second one would connect to the transmission if it was an automatic transmission. However, if it was a manual transmission, that pin wouldn't do you much good. But here's Ford, older Ford connector. But as you can see, before '96, when the government stepped in and pretty much standardized the OBD2 system and made all the plugs universal, every manufacturer kind of had their own deal going on, which required you to have a whole lot of different connectors and adapters and whatnot to actually be able to use these scanners. So there's a Jeep one, for instance, and another Chrysler one. Interesting deal. But yeah, this is obviously not a scanner for just an everyday backyard DIY type of guy. But if you're getting into the automotive repair field, this would definitely be a good thing to start out with, and it would definitely give you a lot of options. The bi-directional feature is absolutely amazing and saves a whole lot of troubleshooting as far as finding the issue. So that is definitely a must, in my opinion, in a scanner if you're going to select one. But yeah, that's my little take on the MT2500 by Snap-on.